That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
Alright guys, I forgot to make this announcement in the last video, but I want to remind y'all, all of the videos that we are going to be doing on Saturday are going to be based on the questions that y'all send me on Instagram and Twitter. Go send me screenshots of your team. Go send me whatever questions that you have. And tomorrow I'm going to be making a video where I break down your rosters. And then also I'm going to be making a video where I answer your start-sit questions. So please, I hope I remember to put it on the screen. If not, I'll have it in the comment section below. But make sure y'all go follow us on Instagram and Twitter. DM me your teams there on Twitter. Maybe I'll send out a tweet saying, hey, this is what I'm looking for, and y'all can just reply to it. Regardless, make sure y'all go do that for the videos on Saturday. And also, just drop a like on this video. Leave your questions here because there are going to be a ton of people going down to that comment section to answer questions right now. Okay, so let's get into it. Sorry about that. And let's talk about 5 running backs that I think we should have out of our starting lineups in week 13. And let's start it off with someone that I got so wrong this past week, Kareem Hunt. Okay, so Kareem Hunt this past week went up against the Jacksonville Jaguars in a spot where he was supposed to completely smash. We knew that both Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb were fantastic fantasy football plays. Why we like Kareem Hunt, as always, is because of the usage that he sees in the receiving game. But this past week, we actually only got 2 targets in Kareem Hunt's direction. No receptions. Actually, that all went over to Nick Chubb, something that I personally was not projecting, and I don't think anybody with half a brain was either, based on how they have used these running backs since Kareem Hunt has been active in 2019. Regardless, we remember we have to try to stay unbiased. We have to continue to change our evaluations based on new data points that are coming in. And if it looks like they are going to start phasing Kareem Hunt out of the offense slightly, I think maybe we just scale him back to, instead of being a running back 2 or a flex play for us, he's more of just a premium handcuff running back. Obviously, if anything happens to Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt vaults up to being a top 10 running back right away. But I think that if he does not have that usage in the receiving game, he's really not going to have a floor where we can consistently rely on him in our starting lineup when Nick Chubb is healthy. And what we also liked Kareem Hunt is he was actually severely out-touching Nick Chubb within the 10-yard line in games where both running backs have been active in 2020. But now, I mean, this past week, we saw all of the usage in the 10-yard line going to Nick Chubb. Kareem Hunt was on the sideline for those snaps. I mean, just here, the usage is extremely concerning. Obviously, if we see it revert back to what it was before in this game against the Tennessee Titans, then we can have a different conversation surrounding Kareem Hunt in this offense. But right now, this is a running back that I really do not want to have in our starting lineups. Okay, so now our next running back has a great matchup on paper, but I don't think it is what it seems to be. Chris Carson, okay? Chris Carson is supposed to dominate this game against the New York Giants, as we are expecting the Seattle Seahawks to have a major lead in this game the entire time, especially knowing that there's most likely going to be no Daniel Jones in this offense. And if there's no Daniel Jones, I think the New York Giants have almost no shot at pushing the ball down the field, even against a very bad Seattle Seahawks secondary. But here with Chris Carson, this past week, we actually saw Carlos Hyde get the majority of the usage in that backfield, something that I did not expect. And I think it makes, honestly, a ton of sense if we were just looking at Chris Carson and his injury history, knowing that when the Seattle Seahawks don't have to be aggressive, they don't have to go out there and put up a ton of points to win the game they're playing in, there's no reason for them to go out there and risk giving the ball to Chris Carson on 80% of the snaps in the backfield. I think what we're going to end up seeing is I think we are going to see an even split between Carlos Hyde and Chris Carson in this game against the New York Giants, because the game script should be extremely similar to what we got with the Seattle Seahawks versus the Philadelphia Eagles, where the Eagles were not able to put up points. The Seahawks got out to that lead very early on, and they were able to just coast to that victory with really no threat of the Philadelphia Eagles ever coming back to win that game. Here, I think we see the exact same thing with the New York Giants. And to add on the fact that the New York Giants actually have a decent run defense, I think that makes it even more of a stay away spot for Chris Carson. clearly we can end up changing our opinion on Chris Carson in the fantasy football playoffs in weeks 14, 15, 16. But as of now, against a decent run defense in a game where they really just don't even need him, I am not wanting to put Chris Carson into our starting lineups. Okay, so now let's get to our next running back in that same game. Had a fantastic week this past week, Wayne Gallman. Okay, so I know that now everybody is fully on board of Wayne Gallman, saying that he's going to be a consistent running back too when there is no Devontae Freeman in this backfield. And while I told y'all to play Wayne Gallman this past week because he had a great matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals, where we know the Bengals had one of the worst run defenses in the entire NFL. And on top of that, the New York Giants should have either been competitive or have been with the lead in that game as the Cincinnati Bengals lost Joe Burrow. Now, this is a completely different situation against the Seattle Seahawks, where yes, Wayne Gallman has shown a good amount of ability in terms of what he's been able to do between the tackles and also catching the ball out of the backfield. But I think his overall floor and ceiling are going to be lowered in this matchup, as we're going to be expecting the New York Giants to be trailing this entire game. We're going to be seeing Colt McCoy drop back to pass, and I think that the New York Giants are not really going to be looking to check the ball down to Wayne Gallman that often, and that they have all of their skill positional players good to go. They have Golden Tate, they have Sterling Shepard, they have Darius Slayton, they have Evan Ingram. So I think instead of looking to throw the ball to Wayne Gallman out of the backfield, it would honestly make more sense for Colt McCoy to end up checking the ball down to a Sterling Shepard or to a Golden Tate, because both of those wide receivers run routes closer to the line of scrimmage, where honestly, you don't need an extremely talented quarterback to make those throws. Not saying that Colt McCoy is not an extremely talented quarterback. Y'all know we got to come out here, represent Texas, hook 'em. But anyway, I think that if we're being realistic here, we're going to be expecting the volume to significantly go down for Wayne Gallman, and we're also going to be expecting the New York Giants to be able to put up less points in a matchup where they're going up against a slightly better defense than they saw this past week. Okay, so now let's go to our next running back, someone that I've been begging y'all not to start for the past 2 weeks now, Damien Harris. Okay, the reason I did not want to start Damien Harris is because I was scared of Sony Michel coming back into this offense and Sony Michel soaking up some of those Damien Harris carries. Really, apparently that was overblown. Apparently I was worried about nothing. But what we've seen now is we've seen that not only is Damien Harris maintaining that role as a running back that's not seeing any targets out of the backfield. And when that is happening, you cannot afford to give up touchdown duties. You are really touchdown or die if you're not going to see any targets out of the backfield. Because even if Damien Harris goes out there and holds up 110 rushing yards, if he's not seeing a single reception and he's not seeing that usage at the goal line, that's a running back that I don't want in my starting lineup. I don't care if he's averaging over 100 rushing yards a game, because that's going to cap his overall ceiling, where if he goes and he has 110 rushing yards, congrats to you, man. That's 11 fantasy points. I would rather have the running back that's going to rush for 40 yards, that's going to catch 3 balls for another 40 yards, and is going to have that shot at a touchdown. We know we have a ton more upside there, and we also have a higher floor. So with the usage of James White at the goal line this past week, I think we have to naturally be lowering our expectations on Damien Harris, and they are going up against the Los Angeles Chargers this week, and we know that the Chargers with Justin Herbert can put points up on the board. So I think we're going to be looking at Damien Harris as a running back that's not necessarily going to be in the right game flow either. So I think he's someone we just want out of our starting lineups in week 13. And now our last running back, someone that I've been telling y'all not to start for a month now. I tried to get y'all to sell him high about 3 weeks ago, and y'all told me I was stupid. Darrell Henderson. Okay, guys, can we all agree now on what I said a month ago? Can we all agree that Cam Akers is the more talented running back in that backfield, and Cam Akers is going to continue to expand his role as Darrell Henderson fades into the background? Not saying that Cam Akers is already the running back one on the offense, but what we said a month ago is Cam Akers was going to have a large enough role where it made it where you cannot play Darrell Henderson, and that's exactly what we've been seeing the past few weeks. And just like I said a month ago, guys, I mean, I am fine with a committee running back. if they are going to end up getting 4 targets out of the backfield every single week, because if you have those 3 receptions for an additional 30 yards, we know that gives you such a nice floor that I really don't care if you're a committee running back and we can just try to hope that you get a touchdown. But here with Darrell Henderson, he does not play on 3rd downs. I mean, there's nothing to get excited about here besides the offense. They are going up against the Arizona Cardinals this week. We know that the Cardinals can put points up on the board, so I think really this is not going to be a spot where the Los Angeles Rams are just looking to run the ball 30 times with the combination of Darrell Henderson, Cam Akers, and Malcolm Brown. And even if they are we really wanting to start a running back that's in a 3-man backfield? I am not, so I am saying do not start any of the Los Angeles Rams running backs in Week 13. Okay, now, thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I really hope y'all got something from it. As always, if y'all did, go down there, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. It really, really helps us out. And I will be live streaming tonight and tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Central, as well as Sunday morning.